after living in the U.S. for the past 10 years, Neil MacDonald has his own 2 cents.
One of the things you get used to in a hurry when you live in America is that here the consumer is king. The whole world falls all over itself to compete for your dollar. This is not Canada. In Canada, business is king. Let's look at a few specifics. Canadian retailers hate it when reporters do this, and for good reason. There is no better example to start with than this vehicle, the Acura MDX. It's a pretty nice ride, pricey too. In Canada, it starts at $53,190 before taxes. Anywhere in the United States, it starts at $43,280. Want something more moderate? This Honda pickup truck starts at $34,990 in Canada. Here in America, $29,450. And where are these fine vehicles made? Alliston, Ontario. Yep, the Acura MDX costs $10,000 more in Barrie, right near the manufacturing plant, than it does in Los Angeles. You'd think shipping would actually add to the price, wouldn't you? Now, we asked Honda, which also makes Acuras, why they charge Canadians so much more for cars made in Canada. Their answer was the standard industry line. Canada and the U.S. are very different markets, meaning we want to charge Canadians more. Actually, some car companies here in America now make you sign a legally binding contract promising not to move your new car to Canada. The internet, of course, has laid a lot of this stuff bare. Companies are trying to cope with that. Go to Pottery Barn Canada and you'll see that this leather easy chair costs $1,979.44 Canadian. Try to find out the price in America and the website will basically resist you. But persist and you'll eventually discover it costs $1,499 US. That's nearly $500 difference. And the chair is made in the U.S., meaning that it's duty-free under NAFTA. The list goes on. Operating a cell phone is a lot cheaper here than it is in Canada. TD Bank, which is all over America now, lets its customers here use its ATMs for free. Canadian customers pay. Now, we called TD Bank too, and basically the customer service agent said that TD Bank has less competition in Canada. The Canadian Senate recently spent 8 months studying this whole issue, and it reported that aside from some piffling government tariffs, it couldn't identify any one reason businesses charge Canadians so much more. How about this? Because they can. Canadians are a smaller market, politically separate, with a lot less competition, and businesses fight to keep it that way. Companies charged much higher prices in Canada when the Canadian dollar was weak, and they're making out like bandits now that the loonie's at par. But note this. When J. Crew opened a Canadian operation a few years ago and demanded higher prices, Canadians revolted, and the company backed down somewhat. Staging revolts is not terribly Canadian, but it works. Maybe somebody ought to lead a few more of them. Maybe those senators should. Now that would be public service. For The National, I'm Neil MacDonald in Washington.